Hello, welcome to Class 2 of our beginning solo technique. In Class 1, we looked at our 6-note pattern, starting on the A string and starting on the E string. And in Class 2, we're going to add the notes on the G string, the B string, and the E string. So this will start on our 12th fret on the E string in red. And you notice that you can see we have the 6-note pattern going up to the D string with the D and the E, and then we add the G string, the B string, and the E string. Now on the G string we add the G and the A, and it follows our same pattern of skipping 1 fret. But notice on the top 2 strings, the B and the E, we skip 2 frets. So we add the B and the D, and on the E string we add the E and the G, skipping 2 frets. So you have the 6-note pattern, and then the G and the A, and then on the B string, skip 2 frets, E string, skip 2 frets. Now let's take a look at the pattern that starts on the A string with the E note on the 7th fret in red. Notice we have the 6 notes that we're used to, ending with the E note on the G string on the 9th fret. Now take a look at the B string. Our G note is on the 8th fret instead of the 7th fret. It moves up a half step. And then we have the A on the 10th fret. Now we go to the E string. We're back to the 7th fret, skipping 2 frets with the D on the 10th fret. Now this is because of the B string being a half step lower that we've talked about in the past, especially while tuning. So this means you have to take that G in the A and adjust it up half a step from what you're used to. It changes the pattern slightly. And then once you get onto the E string, you're back to the same pattern that we saw on the 12th fret. So you can see here on the 12th fret that the top 2 strings skip 2 frets, but when you start your pattern on the A string, your E string is the only one that skips 2 frets. So looking at this pattern on the A string, you can see that the G and the A are played on the B string and they move up a half step, and then the B and the D are played on the E string, skipping 2 frets. Going back to the E string pattern, you can see that the G and the A are played on the G string. They don't go up a half fret. When we get to the B string, we play the B and the D, skipping the 2 frets. But in this pattern, we can add the E string, which is the E and the G notes, again skipping 2 frets. Now the only other thing to mention is the use of the F sharp. You notice here that we have the F sharp on the 14th fret on the E string in that purple circle. This is on the E string pattern. In the A string pattern, the F sharp is also played in that same place. In this case, it's the 9th fret in the purple circle. You have an F sharp. Now the F sharp is not in the pentatonic scale for this key, the key of E. It is only played here because of this pattern. We are working towards understanding the pentatonic scale and eventually the blues scale, and we wouldn't play an F sharp in the pentatonic scale. So we're not really looking at notes right now, we're looking at patterns. And so the F sharp may or may not work depending on the chord and when you hit it, but it generally always works in this pattern. So don't worry about the notes for that. I just want you to be aware that we are playing an F sharp, which wouldn't normally be played when we're moving forward with the pentatonic scale. So now, how does all of this look on the guitar? All right, the first thing we're going to do is identify our E notes. E, and here's E. Okay, starting on the A string, coming up with our pattern, right there, we shifted. We shift up a half step right here. B string, 8th fret, 10th fret. 8th fret, 10th fret on the B string. 8th fret, 10th fret. All right, now looking at the E string pattern, we don't shift up a half step. Right here, we stay right with that same pattern. So this is the 8th, 10th. Now coming up again, 8th fret, 10th fret. Looking at the E pattern, straight up. No skipping of 2 frets. Adding the top 2 strings now to our pattern. Right here we go our 12th to 15th frets. 12th fret, 15th fret. We skip 2 frets. Now the equivalent here on the A pattern Right here, you notice we skip the 2 frets right there in the middle. Skipping those 2 frets. Same thing here on the B string. Skip the 2 frets, and then we can add the E string and skip the 2 frets. There it is. Now here's the whole pattern. And then going down. Okay, now for the rest of the lesson, we're just going to focus on the E string pattern on the 12th fret and running up and down all 6 strings. So I'm going to play it slowly for you and then play it more quickly so that you can better understand this pattern. So that's the pattern on the E string, and I'm going to play a few minutes to the backtrack and show you this E string pattern on the 12th fret. I'm not going to go to the other, just for simplicity, I'm not going to go to the other pattern. I'm going to stick with the E string pattern and play all 6 strings and just show you some ideas on how you can use this pattern to the backtrack.